Hello everybody, my name is Benji, and welcome back to Satisfactory, where, as you can see, in between streams, I have been a little busy. And I want to recap the stream, that's like the entire purpose of this video, but I also want to talk about some of the stuff that I have done in between streams as well. Because, yeah, there is a little bit that has been done in between streams. So first and foremost, what did we do on stream? Well, first thing we did on stream was double our power grid up here at the coal power facility. So let me just find myself a power node because I don't feel like going the whole way up there. It's literally just copy and pasted. So 3,600 megawatts as opposed to 1,800, which is good because we're currently using 1,800 as our max consumption. Granted, some of that is going to maintain the same. I mean, all of these smelters are idle at the moment, but they will soon not be, most of them. And that's what we're going to talk about here in just a second next. But most of the... It looks a little too close to be real. It is below the clouds. That is why it looks... That's interesting. Most of the production that we have back home for things like iron plates, reinforced iron plates, and, you know, steel beams, all that stuff, all of that is going to be moved to over here instead of where it currently is. The only reason why it's even still operational at all at the moment is because of the fact that I need parts in order to build the main base. I can't build the main base without parts from the old base. So that's the entire reason why the main base is still, well, the main base is still inoperable and the old base is still fully operational. So let's talk about what these are. These are blueprints, and we have a blueprint designer platform as a part of the main base now. That was new, that was not on stream. We also have a space elevator platform where the space elevator will be moved to. But we're not going to do that until it is time for stream to happen. And these are blueprints. So in my blueprints, you'll see I have a thing called ore to first tier, or ore to ingot, like whatever that is. So we have ourselves some ore input here, and I won't actually place this because it's a little wonky. But you know what, actually, I can just go over here and load it, and then I can deconstruct and all the things and have no issues. It's like the entire point of this. There's going to be gates here, but I haven't unlocked gates yet. So if we go into the blueprint designer, we can load a blueprint. I'll just load this one. And then you can see here that we've got ourselves 8 smelters, which are each 30 per minute of iron ore. We have ourselves a Mark III 240 belt going in. It splits 2 ways into 2 belts of 120, which then splits right here. Ugh, it's hard to get around in here. Splits 2 ways to 60 each, and then splits from 60 to 30. So it's perfect splitting into each of these smelters. And then the belt output of each smelter goes up, around, over, and down into the final output of 240 plates per minute. And it all just sits right in here, right in this little 4x4 area with some verticality to spare. You can see we've still got plenty of space up there to spare, which is cool. Then I can clear the blueprint designer, grab all the stuff out of the storage, and we of course have one of those for copper, but it's the exact same. Then we have this concrete blueprint. And this concrete blueprint does kind of the same thing. It takes a 240 belt in, splits it 3 ways into belts of 80, and then those belts of 80 split 2 ways into 40 per minute each. So that's just what's happening down the center here. And then you can see just barely there's enough space on the top here for the output of the constructors to come up and around, and then down for a full 80 per minute of concrete, which is very nice. Then we also have this, which is my supports that I made. So we've got the extra long support. You can see it's a big boy. We've got the long support, the medium support, and the short support. And you'll see those down there. You'll see them down there. down there, all the good stuff, right? So over here now, in terms of what the actual main base is taking into account here, we are going to have a total of, I think it's 8 normal limestone nodes, which equates to 4 belts of 240 limestone, which all combines together to make 320 concrete here in the center. These two are not active yet, because that is these belts, which have some scaffolding going underneath, and those belts are from the main, the current base, the old base, as it's called, and that old base, of course, is still operational, so we haven't actually connected those belts just yet, and I'll go over and show that really quickly. You can see, as I get closer here, that belt, I sense, that belt just ends, and it doesn't actually continue yet. That's because the old base is still fully connected. So we can't do that just yet, but soon we will have that all flowing. Then we also have enough, there are 3 pure iron nodes over there, and there are 6 normal iron nodes over here, which equates to 3 pure iron nodes over here. So that means we have 6 belts of iron. You can see all of this getting harvested here. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 for the iron. And that is 3 belts coming up. 2 of them are currently going in, and then the other one is just continuing. And we have 4 smelter systems here, which is 4 belts of iron. You can see right here, 1, 2, 3, 4. And then those continue. And then same thing with the copper. So for the copper, we have ourselves 3 normal nodes. So there's 1, 2, and then the other one is way off in that direction. You can't even really see it. So that is just a Mark II belt, which is why this one has a merger. And that copper node is a little bit of a secret. It's way all the way up here, 120 copper. So those two combine in order to make 2 belts of 240 copper per minute, which is what we're going to have temporarily for the main base. Once we need more copper, there's another pure node that we're using at the old base over here that we can pull in for a 3rd belt of copper when needed. Right now we don't need it because there's not that much that we do with copper yet, so we're not really all that concerned about it. So our end results over here are 1 belt of 270, technically 320, but we don't have the belt speed for that yet, of concrete. 4 240 belts of iron, 2 240 belts of copper, and then our 2 belts of iron ore will end up combining with coal from up here. There's 480 coal, and then up here there's 360 coal, of which this is going to be used with the sulfur. All of this coal is going to be used for steel, and if I got lucky, I've been doing some hard drive work. There it is. Couldn't have planned that better. That could not have gone better. This is not scripted. I did not... You heard the ping go off telling me that it was done just a second ago. Solid steel ingot is the best steel recipe you are ever going to have. It is required. In my opinion, it is required for a main base involving steel. And you can see, I did a lot of hard drives in order to get to this point. So we'll go through those here in a second. But the solid steel ingot lets us turn 40 iron into 60 steel. 40 iron and coal into 60 steel. Instead of a 1-to-1, it's a 2-to-3. We get 150% more output for the same input. That means, on stream, next time, we are going to be able to design a blueprint that takes 2 belts of iron, 2 2 belts of iron and 2 belts of coal, and gives us 3 belts of steel as an output with 12 foundries. And that is going to be an absolute treat. So those extra 2 of the 6 that are way back there at that ping, those are going to combine with the coal that comes in via trucks. That's why there's truck stations all the way over there. One of the trucks is going to go down the ramp that's over there. I'll actually run over and show that really quickly. But the coal and the iron are going to combine to make 3 belts of steel. And then, of course, we have our 1 belt of Caterium. 240 per minute of the Caterium off of that pure node in the distance. I forget how much that becomes. I think it's like 80 or something like that. I don't actually remember. But we'll have that much Caterium, that much concrete, 4 belts of iron, 2 belts of copper with a 3rd as a reserve, and then 3 belts of steel ingots, which are going to be absolutely fantastic in conjunction with some other recipes. But in terms of the trucks, you can see there's a ramp here, so it'll come up that ramp on the side, pull into the station here, and then go back down this ramp and out into the world. The one getting ahead of myself. The one truck route is going to end up coming up along this path in order to get to here. And that is going to include grabbing the coal, grabbing the iron, and grabbing the copper. The iron will just be a reserve for now because we don't actually need it yet. The copper is going to join up with the copper, as I mentioned, and then all of that coal is going to combine with the current iron in order to make steel. And then the other truck is going to go down along this river, and then up somehow along this way to get down into this area for the coal. And then more than likely that truck is also going to come through this area in order to get to the sulfur. If that routing doesn't work out, it's probably going to follow this truck and then go up this way and then down and into sulfur as well. And most of this coal is going to be relegated to fueling the rest of these trucks that are going to be moving and grooving. So you can see we have enough room for 2 truck stops of each variety. So we'll probably have like 1 truck stop over there and 2 truck stops over here for different parts. Like this, one of these will be coal from that way, and one of these will be coal from that way. And then kind of same thing, we'll have like a copper and an iron, and then a sulfur and something else. And, you know, we can just expand this along this direction here for a certain duration, and then just have the trucks pull in and go out in a big old loop. Phenomenal. So that is the main plan for all of that at the moment. Then I also, as you can see, have some to-do list over here for the basic iron parts. So we're going to have 60 iron going into plates, which is 3 constructors worth. We're going to have 30 going into rods, which is 2 constructors worth. We're going to have 150, which is now an entire one of these 4 iron belts for the reinforced iron plates. The rotors, we're going to be using steel rotors, so that's going to be mostly copper and a little bit of steel, and I can show off that recipe real quick. Rotor is going to be this one, the steel rotor. So we're going to be doing 10 per minute, which is 20 steel pipes, which is not much, and then 30 copper wire per minute, which is not that bad at all. And then the smart plating is also going to use a steel rotor because the reinforced iron plate recipe is really nice to us in terms of ratios. So I think it's 120 iron goes into this for the 10 per minute to get the smart plating 10 per minute. And then the rotors is just the steel rotors, which saves us a lot at the end. And then the other thing on here, run the trucks from sulfur. The weapons, of course, we want to do, and then the steel for the solid steel should actually be moved up the list a little bit, because the steel is probably going to end up going right here, just so that it all ends up going on the bus, and then the bus will probably end up looping around a little bit. So that's it in terms of industry, which is nice. I can talk about some of these other alternate recipes because we already have the really, really good steel beam recipe, the molded beam. These recipes are so great, and that's 100% what we're going to use in the versatile framework, is the molded beam recipe, because why would we not? But then there's also the steel pipe, which I don't think I've unlocked it yet. Nope, it's still in here. The molded steel pipe, which is a 1-to-1 for steel instead of a 3-to-2 for steel, and then at the behest of concrete. But that's not that big of a deal because concrete is plentiful in this space at the moment. I'm going to start my other hard drive scan because I, still have... Yeah, no, I can't undo it, so that's fine. Quick wire stators is pretty nice, I'm not going to lie. It's less steel for more stators, but at the use of quick wire instead. And currently we're not using Caterium for anything else, so I think I am going to go for that. Then stitched iron plate, it saves you some iron, but the ratios suck. And then basic iron ingot, limestone and iron to make more iron. We're going to rescan that one. Fused wire, less copper for more wire, but with Caterium in the mix. Not necessary. Cheap silica, though, limestone and quartz. Quartz is very finite, limestone is very plentiful. We'll go for that. Steamed copper sheet, we don't have refineries yet, or automated miner. Those are both terrible. Fused wire or stitched iron plate. I guess we'll go fused wire, because we already talked about both of those. Bolted frame, I think, is just a faster production rate, but I think it costs more. And then rigger motor, we don't have, the thing for that yet. So, honestly, I should have taken the modular frame. It was a bit risky for me to have done that, but that's okay. Caterium wire, just literally wire from Caterium. I honestly think this is a better recipe than the copper wire. Yeah, you can see the alternate fused wire there is 1-to-90 versus this is 1-to-120, and it doesn't require any copper, so this is better. Ooh! Or the encased industrial pipe. The encased industrial pipe is a very cheap alternate for the encased industrial beam, because you can see here it's a 3-to-1, which is slightly more steel. Well, actually, I don't know with the molded beam anymore. That would be more steel than the steel pipe alternate. We're going to take it, though, because it's better than the Caterium wire. Caterium has better uses than something that could be used for copper. Copper alloy ingot or coal from wood. This is terrible. In my opinion, all of the alloy ingots are terrible because the pure ingots with the refinery recipe are way better. So we're going to re-roll that. Wet concrete is good once we have refineries. Bio coal, not so much. So wet concrete. And then the last one, iron pipe or fine concrete, which is less limestone, but at the cost of silica. I don't know if that's even worth it, even with the cheap silica. So I guess we're going to take the iron pipe, which is extremely not usable, in my opinion. So yeah, there's all the alternate recipes. What else do I need to talk about? I need to talk about the plan for the base itself. So obviously, of course, this entire platform is the main base. We're going to have trucks and trains relegated to an area over here on the far north side of our base. So trucks on this floor, trains on subsequent floors, more than likely. We're going to end up having trucks go, well, we talked about up there and up there. But we're also going to have a truck going the entirety of the way up to get the SAM ore. So it's going to end up coming down off of this all the way across our little bridge here, and then it's going to have to work its way the entirety of the way up to here, where I'll put a truck loading station, put the reanimated SAM onto the truck, and then bring the truck the whole way back down to here. That way we can automate this SAM fluctuator stuff while we are, in the actual main base area. And then the rest of it is all going to be relegated to production. So the steel is going to end up going right here. Then the main bus is going to wrap around a little bit, and it's going to end up coming probably back down this lane, if I had to guess. Maybe I'll leave a lane for walking, but probably not. More than likely, it's going to end up being this lane that all of the belts go down. And then we're going to have just a shit ton of tiered production here for, like, the basic stuff. Reinforced iron plates, modular frames, rotors, etc. And then we're going to go up a floor and continue on the production of different things, starting with the main bus all the way back against the side yet again, which is going to be a fun logistical nightmare to figure out how I get the bus from here, or I guess here, all the way back over to the far side, and then keep it going. So that'll be very interesting, but I think it'll be very fun as well. And we want to not encroach over here, because I already talked about the space elevator platform. I already talked about the blueprint platform, which will be expanded and moved over time, I'm sure, with the 5x5 and the 6x6 versions. And then we're going to have our storage room, because no main base is complete without a storage room. So the current plan for the storage room is just to have a gate here. We're going to have our storage lining both sides. We're going to end up having signs along the edges here once I upgrade my sign quality a little bit that show what part is what. And then up on top is where we are going to have the dimensional depot. So the dimensional depot is just going to sit right on top of each of these, and we'll be able to add it as, you know, required. And as the different parts are being made, they'll be able to go straight into the dimensional depot and be in the cloud storage over here, which will be great. But then you ask, if this whole place is going to be walled in and we're going to have a central corridor, where the heck are the belts going to go? Well, most of the belts are going to run along the ceiling. This will all be closed in a little bit. You can see the start of the ceiling over there. So this will all end up being completely and entirely closed in. And with that all being closed in, the belts from the production lines that are going to be over here are going to be able to go up and along the ceiling and straight into these guys. And I can kind of show off a little bit of what the ceiling mounted bus looks like, because we have this big old bus train coming over from the old base. You can see that it goes along these scaffolding supports, go up, and then they end up going right along the underside of this foundation. Just like that. And of course, we'll get rid of the scaffolding once I'm ready to. But since there's nothing on the belts and there could end up being issues, then there's no need for any of that just yet. No need to get rid of any of that just yet. So yeah, lots happened. Lots of rambling. Video is very long, but I hope that you guys have all enjoyed. I am loving these blueprints, absolutely loving these blueprints. Could not be happier with the state of blueprints. And we're going to pick up next time. Pretty much we're going to pick up next time with running the trucks. Thanks. That way we can do the steel right here. And then once we run the trucks, we're going to go in with all of the basic parts and all of that good stuff. So, yeah. Good plan for next time. Absolutely loving it. Let me actually get my lookout tower out here, because I need thumbnails. That is something that I keep forgetting to do, is take pictures. So that is going to be it for today. Thank you everybody so much for watching. I hope you have enjoyed. But without further ado, adios, sayonara, au revoir, hasta la vista, das vidania, auf Wiedersehen, ciao, and goodbye. Please have yourselves a fantastic rest of your day. Get some sleep if you need to. Don't forget to stay hydrated. This video is in the bag, and I will see you guys in the next one. Later, y'all.